Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and for today's video we're going to be looking at some hands I played on the Triplicate 25NL snap tables. Starting off with a hand here with the Ace King of Clubs. It's going to be our location for the next 2 days of videos. No more of the regular table stuff. Don't know what Friday's content's going to be yet because I haven't created it, but yeah, we're going to do about 15 minutes reviewing some hands. All in all, I've got 10 hands to review. Not going to get through them all today. Maybe we'll get through them all over the next 2 days, and if not, then we'll have a third day of Triple Eight content. But yeah, let's just crack on, get straight into it. Nothing, no spam, no nonsense. Just get into the hands. So here we have a recreational player opening to 3 big blinds under the gun. I've since looked at this hand with some of my peers on Discord, and one of the players, very respected member of the community, a lovely gentleman, really kind, really pleasant, said, "This guy is a fucking cunt." So yeah, or fucking shit cunt or something like that. So I'm going to take that read on trust. I didn't have that read at the time. All I had was my limited number of hands on the dude, 43.22, and a not full stack. So we're pretty clear he's very likely to be recreational. So we have the most trivial of 3 bets here. It's not even close, which is what we do. Our friend J Dog calls, and we get this flop, and he donks. I'm like, what? What is this? What is this absolute nonsense? I think we could race right now. I think we could call. Clearly we're never folding. We just have too much going on. We don't have anything much at the minute, but we have 2 overcards and double backdoor, so we can't go anywhere facing this like 1/3 donk bet. Fuck knows what it means. It could be anything. I don't know anything about this player. Could be a 10, could be an 8, could be a flush draw, could be a fucking gut shot, could be just some random nonsense. I haven't got a clue. I think raising now would be fine, but if we get 3 bet and he has a hand that doesn't have great equity, then it's a big shame. Imagine he like donk 3 bets he would take. So I had this argument with people last night because most people I was chatting with, we had a nice group chat. There's maybe 6 or 7 people in it and 3 or 4 people actively chatting. And I think the general consensus was we're unlikely to get 3 bet if we get raised here. My fear at the time for raising was if we do get 3 bet by a hand like 10x or God forbid, even worse, like a flush draw that we have well beat. Any flush draw he has unless he takes King of Hearts is behind to us. I didn't want to open myself up to a 3 bet, so I didn't want to raise. I think the common consensus here was just fucking raise this donk bet because it's nonsense. But I didn't raise. I just called. Eventually. Turn gives us an absolute fucking stonk on. We're delighted with that turn. We've now got every out in the deck. And he leads again for 1/3 pot. And at this point, I was like, right, fine. This guy's probably got a weakish made hand. Donk calls and donks again. Or he's got a flush draw. I quite often see recreational players do this with draws. Like donk, call a draw, then donk again. I don't think he's nutted here in any shape or form. I think he's like the strongest hand he's going to have here is like 10x, probably, and then quite a few flush draws, stuff like that. I just don't think this line is particularly strong. I'm happy at this point to raise and just get it in. If we do raise and get it in, and he just like call us with a 10x, I think he's going to fold a 10x a decent chunk of the time. If he just raise and get it in with a 10x, and yeah, we're behind, but we've got a fucking absolute ton of equity. And I don't think he's got stronger than 1 pair here very often. I don't think he uses his size, takes his line with a hand stronger than 1 pair. So I think he's in 1 pair or worse territory. But I don't think our hand's strong enough just to do that pure bluff catch. Because I think he is going to have some weak made hands in this line sometimes. So I ended up going with the raise, hoping to commit him or make him fold. At this point, I'm like, right, this guy just needs to now either jam or fold his hand. But as you can see, he just calls. Like, what? You what, mate? You what? What are you talking about? We're just calling. That was like the absolute nut worst thing for me. He's only got 33 bigs behind. He's just called. which I didn't want him to do because like now we have no fold equity on this river. As you can see, he did donk. We have no fold equity on this river if we want to try and like bluff. I don't think we have enough showdown, but it's just a clusterfuck now. When he just called my turn raise, I was trying to commit him into calling or folding, and when he calls again, I suspect he's probably just got a draw a lot of the time, and the five's a brick. Um, so when he does this on the river, I don't think I thought about this enough. I think we have a call here. Spoiler alert: I end up folding, but I think upon review, I think we have a call here at least some of the time. As you can see, I did go into the tank. Probably just fucking tag him as much as anything else. We ended up eventually folding, but I actually think now we have a call. I very much doubt 10x does this. I just think he's got a heart draw, an incredibly a big amount of the time. Big amount of the time. I mean, now and again we're going to get binned when he's like turned a jack with I don't fucking know what, like a jack X of hearts or something. I don't know. I think we might have a call here. I didn't. I'm happy with all my play on Sundays, and I'm not disappointed with the river because ultimately we only have ace high. And maybe our opponent can just have some nonsense value here that. I mean, I have no idea what this fucking line is. Literally, donk call, donk. Fuck knows. Fuck knows what this line is. It's an incredibly bonkers line from this guy. I think we might have a call, and I folded. And yeah, that hand is just one monumental clusterfuck from start to finish. Well, not from start to finish. Pre-flop's fine, but after that, it's just a mindfuck. Right, on to the next one. So this one was also discussed in our study session last night. The first part of the discussion was pre-flop. Do we squeeze from the button here, or do we just call and see a flop in position? I don't think there's any folding of our hand. We are facing a 4x from the under the gun player who, on the basis of the stats I've got so far, appears to be weak type, but it's a hand sample of 9, so it's completely irrelevant. But based on the information we have, he doesn't seem like he's a fucking psychopath. Doesn't look like he's a total nit either. He could be either of those things, but you know we've got the information we've got. And then we have Angry Beaver, who is a very solid regular in these games, calling from middle position, which I think is really interesting because I wouldn't have expected him to have too much of a calling range versus 4x from that spot. I'd be interested if Angry Beaver ever watches this. I don't know if he does or he doesn't. If he could let me know what he had there. Maybe every chance he's got a lot more hands on nut brick draw, and this is a significant deviation from conventional strategy that he's making here. Because I think Angry Beaver seems a fundamentally decent player to me. So this might well be just a big adjustment to a particular opponent, or maybe he just enjoys flatting middle position version under the gun sometimes. I would love to be able to do that. This was another discussion we ended up having last night in the group about like why is it? I mean, we're constantly told these days it's not good to flat from middle position from the cutoff. It's okay from the button. It's not terrible in some situations in the small blind. Obviously, big blind it's mandatory with a lot of hands. And yeah, I'm going to deviate. I'm going to talk here and wasting time in the video, but it's not wasting time. I think it's interesting discussion. But why aren't we allowed to flat from like middle position, the cutoff versus early position? I'm presuming here Angry Bees is going to mostly have a lot of like small to middle pairs, like deuces through maybe sevens or eights, maybe some like ace X suited, some suited wheel aces, something that he doesn't want to 3-bet. I think he's going to have a range that kind of like isn't super strong in terms of like made hand strength, but has a lot of like good implied odds. I'm presuming that's what his range is going to look like mostly here. And we're not allowed to do that apparently, but I have no issue with it personally. I mean, I don't do it anymore. I did it, and then Easty called me a baby, and he was probably fucking right. It was funny, and I do enjoy that kind of abuse. It's funny. If people knew how much I enjoyed that, they wouldn't do it. But I understand why we're not supposed to do it because in Solverland we get squeezed too often, and then there's a rake issue. But we're not playing in Solverland. We're playing in 25 and L land where games typically play way tighter and way more passive than solvers play against themselves. So are we right to just flat out say no flats cut off or button? Sorry, no flats middle position or cut off, just because Solver says we can't do it when we play in a game environment that isn't that similar to how solvers play, and it just isn't. I mean, I've been doing some work with pre-flop solvers lately to try and improve my pre-flop game, and there's no way the pools I play in play anything like solver approved ranges pre-flop. They get all the good stuff right. They get all the like value three bets in there. They don't get anywhere near enough of the light three bets in there. They certainly don't get anywhere near enough of the light squeezes in there. It just doesn't happen. I've been playing these games for fucking years now, literally years, and it hasn't changed that much. Things do change in the games, like frequencies change a little bit. Bet sizing certainly changes a lot, but the fundamentals of like this is why 25 and L10 and L things like that remain to be relatively soft, because the players who are capable of implementing solver approved ranges move up quickly. They crush the games, they move up quickly. The ones that aren't end up stuck in the bottleneck, like me, like you if you're watching this video, like most of the people in this pool. Um, so if people aren't playing solver approved ranges using solver approved frequencies and solver approved sizes, they're not doing any of those things. And why do we need to be folding implied odds hands in middle position and cutoff versus early position opens? It's to me, there's a contradiction there. We're told we can't do it because of rake and because of we get squeezed in three bet too often. The rake thing, yeah, right, you can't argue with that. But I think there's a strong argument to be made for the fact we just don't get squeezed anywhere near as frequently as we're supposed to. So I actually think there's a strong case to be made for just set mining versus early position open. So middle position and cut off. And when you get squeezed, just deal with it. Just fold your hand. Or if the squeeze isn't sized correctly, just still call it a set mine. Because the person who's not squeezing to a correct size also probably isn't using the correct frequencies, using the correct hands. So therefore, you probably have decent implied odds against it. That's quite that's something that isn't going to go down well with the solver nerds, but I think it's a reasonable deviation from what the solver's telling us to do pre-flop in the games that we play in. Anyway, that's been quite a long digression. We've got to 12 minutes. We've only done one fucking hand. What a cunt. Anyways, yes, so we move on with the hand. I elected to call in the end because Jack 10 suited is really pretty. We have position. Um, and I don't want to 4-bet reopen the action to what might be a really strong range given his 4x. We flop ourselves the world with a pair and a flush draw. Our opponent c-bets relatively small, which is fine multi-way, I guess. It's perfectly reasonable. I don't read too much into this in terms of does it represent a strong or a weak hand. In the olden days, I would have been like, it's just bet small, multi-way, blah, blah, blah. He's not very strong, but this is just the way things are done these days. Angry Beaver comes along with the call, which I doubt is a trap. Could be. I mean, he might have a strong hand here, but it seemed unlikely. But we just have so much equity. And the question is, do we just run it now or do we just call? I mean, obviously, we're getting a great price to call and just try and realise our equity properly. But also, we're probably a coin flip against most ranges except sets. We're a coin flip or maybe even a slight favourite against just over pairs. We're beating flush draws, higher flush draws, like if the ace-x diamonds is out there somewhere, we're ahead of that. It just feels, to me, old school Reggie, it felt like, fuck it, just raise money, put money in the pot now. We like our equity. It can't be a mistake. Let's just fucking do it. Is it the highest EV to raise here? I don't know. I haven't got a fucking clue. Is it plus EV to raise here? Yeah, of course it is. So it's, I think that however we chose to play this would have been fine. It's just which is the highest EV, and I don't know the answer to that. I don't really care that I don't know the answer to it either. To know the answer to that, you need to be really familiar with both these players and their tendencies, I guess. So we did end up putting a raise in, and we put quite a healthy raise in. Obviously, trying to get the money in now, which we don't really want to see somebody call, and then see a bad turn come off. But nut brick draw does just call. We turn 3 jacks. Nutbrick draw is probably drawing pretty close to dead right now, unless he has the case jack with the better kicker. Very unlikely he has pocket 3s or pocket 4s, given his 4x under the gun. C-bet small and just called the 3-bet, so he doesn't have those hands almost ever. So the only way we're beat here is if he has ace jack, king jack, queen jack. And if that's the case, that's the case. So he checks, and I think a few people in the group I was discussing things last night were like, we're just go all in now. I don't really see the merit in that. he might fold an overpair if we go all in here. Thinking the jack's a really bad card for him. If he sat there with that aces, kings, queens, he might find a fold to a shove. Maybe not always, but he might sometimes. There's not many river cards I'm worried about. If he's got a higher flush draw and the flush gets there, we were going broke anyway. So that's not like a want to bet and then charge his flush draws or whatever you are. Like make him fold an ace high flush draw because he's got a little bit of equity against us. That would be nonsense. So I checked here, and most people in the group we were discussing with disagreed. I think one player in the end, after I'd explained my thought process, like actually, yeah, come to think of it now, I think check's good. So I got one person on the side at least. Then the river is an offsuit king. The only things that really improve past us are exactly pocket kings. Our opponent shoves. We have like the easiest call in the history of the world. If we're beat, we're beat, And there's a chance we could be beat. He could have a better jack. He could have exactly pocket kings. But, I mean, we have a super trivial fold. And he had the ace 10 of clubs. I mean, I've literally no idea. Just hang on a sec, my phone drinking. Apologies, I've lost my train of thought a little bit here. But I guess I was saying, like, no idea what his flop float is all about. Makes no sense. Really, he's got some backdoors, yeah, but whatever. I guess our turn check got us paid in the river. Don't like our opponent's line at all. I like our line, and this hand's led to interesting discussion based on Angry Beaver's flat. And I'm not digging Angry Beaver out for it because it's a play that I would love to make, but I don't make it because everyone says it's bad. I'm not sure it is bad, but it's not a hill I'm willing to die on in terms of having arguments with people. I'll just play the game my way, and people can play the game their way. And we'll, at the end of the year, we'll probably all make a little bit of money and argue about stuff that doesn't really matter that much in the games that we play. Okay, we'll do one last hand, and then we'll knock it on the head. So here we have the ace 5 of diamonds. Let's see what happens. With a limp under the gun by Martini027, Huangans has overlimped the cutoff. We're about to squeeze it up. 7.5 might be a bit on the big side, who knows, but that's what we chose, that's what we did. And Huangans goes with the call. We flop ourselves 2 pairs. This hand might not be very interesting. Might be a quick one to end the video. I think we have a very easy c-bet here. I think I'm probably going to bet pretty big and just hope he's connected somehow with the ace. We do. He calls. Turn is the club. Not in love with that. It's not a great card. I'm not saying he necessarily has a ton of clubs in his range. It just makes it harder to get paid now if he's got a hand like ace 8. If he's got a hand like ace 9, ace jack that's overlimped and called. It just makes it harder to get paid from all his ace x. I think if we bet here and get raised, it absolutely stinks. I don't remember the hand. I hope I check back. I think betting here and getting raised would absolutely stink. What's Reggie going to do? Oh, Reggie's going to bet. I don't like it, Reggie. Reggie. Don't love it. Because if he jams here, we're fucked. We have to call it off. And we'd probably not in that good shape. We'd have to hope that he just had, I don't know, some random booking king of clubs or something. King 10 with a club. Who knows what. I don't like the bet. I think we should probably check back and then play rivers based on what happens. We get the repeat 3 on the river, which is a total brick. Our opponent checks. And I think we need to go seeking value here still. I think there's still plenty of ace x that can call. This is a spot sometimes where I'll just be weak as piss and just check back. Because I'm just worried now that we're just not going to get called by worse hands enough. For this bet to be profitable, we need him to limp to hand like ace jack and then just call 3 streets with it, which is entirely possible. But I don't think there's too many hands that can call us here. I guess he has lots of ace x, but a lot of his ace x probably won't want to call. If he's got ace 4, for example, I mean, maybe he calls, who knows. It feels a little bit thin, but not too thin. But in the past, I've just bottled out of betting here. And did I bottle out a betting again? I bottled out a betting again. Reggie, you fucking coward. Whether we would have got called by that or not, I don't know. But yeah, Mr. Weak Tight is still in the building because I think I'm disappointed that I didn't go pursuing value there. Maybe I just thought it was too thin. But when the opponent takes a like limp call, check, call, check, call, check line, I mean, two pairs just going to be good there an enormous amount of the time. And then it's just a question of does our opponent call or not. And we've probably got the best hand. Like if we go all in there or put him all in for his remaining 40 bigs or whatever it was that he had, does he call with the worst hand enough of the time to make that a profitable bet? And yes, of course he does. It's thin, but it's not so thin we shouldn't make the bet, and that is a disappointing check back from me. So ending the video on a disappointing check. Not the first time I've played hands in a disappointing manner, and it certainly won't be the last. But we're going to leave it there because we've gone 20 minutes. It's I can live with 20 minutes. Let's face it, they're not going to be 15 minutes very often, are they? Make sure you pop back tomorrow because there'll be another video uploaded tomorrow. It's going to be of another 25, another snap session. Hope you guys are enjoying this new content, shorter format but higher frequency. Hopefully the videos start getting a few more views, so hopefully more people keep coming back for more and then viewing other videos that they previously wouldn't have viewed. Hopefully it will just help my channel get a bit of momentum. But if you're still here at this stage and you haven't yet hit the like button or you're not a subscriber, please do one or both of those things, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye for now.